Oh, hey everybody, how's it going? Sorry, I might have got some volume on my phone going on, and I didn't know what was happening.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, it's still going.
It's still going. What's happening? Oh no.
No.
This
Oh, it's
ship,
okay.
it's ruined. The
Yeah,
ship.
yeah. It's all right. We'll get this squared away. We'll start. Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the Pull Box Pals. I'm Mark, and to my right on the screen is Monk. And how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. It is very hot here in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. So if you hear a fan going in the background, I apologize, but it's either that
How
or you just watch me slowly melt like the wicked witch of the east of the United States.
how hot is it?
Let me look. I have my phone in my hands. 88 degrees currently,
Hmm.
um,
Yeah,
which is hot.
that's um over here in the northwest of Corvallis, Oregon. I It's like 75 out,
Oh,
which is
yeah,
that's not bad.
that's super comfortable. That sounds
My
nice.
do you have a temperature? Like you're
Me?
just like when you see it's like yeah, when you see it's like X amount of degrees outside, you're like, yes, I love being outside when it's like this temperature.
Honestly, like in this high 60s, probably like
Oh, okay.
68, 60. Yeah, I like it a little bit colder than I like it like warm. I like
You
perfect
like
weather for
cloudy and
me.
rainy?
Yeah, that's why I
Yeah.
moved to Oregon. That's why I lived in Oregon for all that time.
Yeah.
And then the summer
Um
was brutal. But anyways, this is this is meteorology talk with Mark and Monk.
So
Uh,
sometimes it's good to talk about the weather, but
yeah,
yeah,
why not?
my yeah, I like it hot. I like 83 is like my like perfect hot temperature, but anything higher than that, it's like I can feel my skin burning.
Yeah, that's
I
not
mean,
a
it
good
probably
feeling.
already is, but I like it. I like it about 83 degrees outside.
Alrighty. Wow, I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to. I don't think I've ever actually like paid attention to it, but I'm gonna have to do it now. But I feel like the 60s is where it's at for yours truly.
Oh yeah.
Um, I just want to give a shout out. If by the way, if anyone is watching, we now have Twitch. So if you're watching via
Yeah.
Twitch, just want to say hey. If you have Twitch and want to jump over there, it's linked in our link tree, which should be linked in the description of wherever you're watching this at. Unless you're
Yeah.
watching it on Twitch, which then you don't got to worry about it. But yeah, welcome.
Hello, viewers on Twitch.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
we both got a decent amount of pools, and I'm feeling like we
We
should just
did,
dive
yeah.
in because there's
We
I
should.
want to do my pools, and I also want to talk about some comics that I've been reading.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
before we dive in there, I just want to say thank you to IWEP Network for
oh
letting
my
us use this
goodness,
platform.
they're
And
the best.
they are. And check out their other podcasts. Even if it's just going through their Instagrams, it's fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the content. I'm glad to be a part of it, and I hope to get to that level.
Hey, you're the most west of everybody on the podcast. How does that make you on the podcast network? You're the most west.
I'm the most west.
This is a continental podcast and podcast
Yeah.
network, in
Yeah.
not intercontinental, but across the continental.
It's like remember Space Ghost Coast to Coast. This is like Pull Box Pals Coast to Coast.
Poolbox Coast pals toasting and roasting. I don't know
That's
what's
how we like
happening.
it.
All right, buddy. You want to see what comics I got this week?
Yeah, let's see what you got, bud.
All right. So this first one that I'm going to show off, I believe you also got it as well. But before I assume that, I'm just going to show you what it is. It is NewThink.
Yeah.
From AWA Upshot. It
You got a
is
different
written.
cover.
Yeah, I forgot I wanted to grab that color cover because I'd like that one better than whatever this is. This is cool, but this seems like so. If I did this, don't you think
Yeah.
this? And sorry for those of you who are just listening, but this looks like a primordial cover. You know?
It does, and it very much gives those vibes even through the
Yeah.
pages.
But
Yeah.
this is just I want to just say right off the bat that this is by Mike Didato Jr., who I always talk about. I feel like I talk about him like every episode. So if you are a common listener, then you would have heard about how much I love his art. And also Greg Hurwitz. And I can't think of anything that I've that I yeah, I can't think of anything that I would have read by him. I was looking over here. I read Not All Robots, which is also had art done and has like a similar vibe, like very kind of
Yeah.
dystopian future. And I wanted to see if it was the same author, but it wasn't. That was Mark Russell. But yeah, I'm very excited to check this out. AWA is like the perfect little studio for this like obscure sci-fi stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm very excited for that. This other one I know you would have gotten as well, and this is a big fan favorite for us. This is a Pool Box Pal hot pick. It is
Oh yeah.
Where's the Furthest Place from Here, number 6. And this is the end of that first arc.
Is yours a variant cover?
I think I think it is. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, cover
Okay,
B.
I probably have the main one then, but
Yeah, I believe that you do.
there
But
is
this is
something on there. I don't know if the camera shows it.
no,
You can
it's not.
kind of
I can kind of see it, but I also
let me
know that
see.
it's there, so I think I'm just filling in the blank with my own third eye.
Oh, there you go.
Um,
There you can kind of
but
see.
okay, yeah, there you go. You got an angle on it. I wanted to sit down. I was so tempted because when I was leaving the comic shop, I really wanted to like run home and read this, but I
Yeah,
just feel like it wouldn't do it justice. Like I want to kind
yeah,
of go back and page through some of the older ones and like just sit down and actually like be really excited to read it
yeah.
and just kind of, I mean, not that I'm not
Did you do
yeah.
that with any of the comics you got today?
I read uh 2 comics today, but both of them are pulls that I got from other weeks.
Okay,
Um
okay.
yeah, so none of them are new at the moment. Well, I mean, you know what I mean. Oh, it's like a week, it's not old.
Oh yeah,
Like
still fresh.
yeah. Oh my god. And I don't know how I miss some of these things, and it's again like there's just too many comics, but what are you gonna do? Anyways, I gotta keep going.
Yeah.
Um so this I was I feel like there's been a big gap in between issue number 1 and issue number 2 of this, and I'm very excited that issue number 2 is out. It is X-Men House of 92.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's been a month, hasn't it?
It feels like 2 or 3, I don't know, but I'm excited because you can see Apocalypse back there, and I love that
Oh yeah,
character. So I would love for him to pop up. I love these costumes. I love this art. And like I said, when I reviewed issue number 1 of this, it was super easy to jump in and have a coherent story across the whole thing. Um,
hmm.
yeah, and to understand because X-Men are so complicated, and it's like it's I love that world, but like when I look at the shelf at my comic book place, there's just like overflowing with X-Men titles, and I'm like, how many of these do I have to read to understand X-Men? And
Yeah,
it's just so complicated. But this, I was very happy when I read issue number 1, and it was kind of very simple. It was a little bit throwbacky. I mean, yeah, 92, so it's going back there and paying homage to those things. But yeah,
yeah.
I'm very excited to dive into that. That'll be just something that I do for fun real quick at some point. But this one you also would have gotten, and I am so lukewarm on this. Little Monsters number 4.
Yeah.
I
I'm glad
I
we got different
I
covers again.
oh my goodness. Yeah, I like mine better this time.
I like yours better that time too. Mine, I don't really like because they always have everything just ready for me, and I don't request a whole lot of variants.
I don't either. I think my comic book guy just I like how we talk about it like it's drugs. Like we're
Uh-huh.
my comic book guy. I go and I see him.
Just
Sometimes,
on the
I don't
corner.
I don't try to give him too many demands. I just take what he gives me.
Yeah.
Uh, he's got
Not picky.
he's got a trench coat and it just has comics in it. Um, but yeah, he he usually just gives me I think whatever, and then
Yeah.
if I don't like it, I just switch it out on the shelf. But no, I
That's
just
a,
have.
it's
Go ahead. I want to take a
I was
drink.
just gonna say, like, I think we've talked about this before, but just like I think I sent you an article a while back, and I want to go back and reread it because I don't want to like misrepresent it. But it was just talking about how like in some regard, like a variant cover is makes life harder for a comic book shop.
Yeah, I can.
And
Yeah, I would understand why that would be the case.
um, and I want to dig into that a little bit more because it is interesting because I like my shop. I think they try to not get variants if they don't have to.
Mm. Yeah, that's. I feel like mine does an okay. I feel like they have probably resolved themselves to being like, this is just how comic books work. You have to get some, but I can't get everything. You know.
Yeah,
So I feel like I'm not the type of guy to go in and be like, this is the variant that I want because most of the time I'm not paying attention. But I feel like if I did, they would oblige me. I also know that yeah, so they're great like that. But yeah, when it comes to Little Monsters, I put it like I was reading earlier and I put my comics in like level of excitement of to read it,
yeah,
and I just was just like, I'm putting this on the bottom. I'm gonna get to it like probably before next week, just so I can comment on it. But it'll be next Wednesday, and I'll be like, I gotta read Little Monsters so I can say, oh, that was fine, you know.
yeah,
So I don't know. I mean, I shouldn't be. I'm sure it's weird that he's not doing something else because I'm sure he is. I just don't know it. You know, Jeff Lemire. I
yeah.
mean,
He's always doing something.
yeah. So he'll probably drop like 3 books at the same time that are all like across like Marvel, DC, and Image. But speaking of Image Comics, Mark, what a good segue. I mean, Little Monsters was on Image, and
Yeah,
so is this book. I didn't say who did any of the stuff by Little Monsters because we've talked about it a
we've
quadrillion
talked about it
times.
before. Yeah,
Yeah. So this is Slumber number 3, and this came out I think last week or sometime recently, and I don't know why it like always sneaks past me. Um,
yeah,
I don't have it in my pull box, and I don't know why, other than I just haven't told the guy. I guess I haven't told the guy that I want it.
yeah.
But yeah, I was at the beginning of this episode or this issue rather. I was kind of thinking that it was going to be an issue where it's just kind of like I just expected a filler issue. But
Hmm.
for those of you who haven't listened before, the concept is that this lady here is a dream hunter. She goes into your dreams and kills your nightmares for you. Um,
Mm.
and she is currently tracing someone who has been haunting her personal dreams for a long time. That's going through different dreams, possessing people, and using their bodies to kill people while they sleep.
That's
Um,
interesting.
yeah, and I thought I the first issue was really interesting. The second issue was really interesting, and then the third issue, I'm like, oh, this is probably going to be the filler issue. And they did another cool dynamic, and I'm just like, man, this is great that like it was so well thought out. And yeah, so I'm really looking forward to. Oh, and yeah, because I this is one of the issues that I read earlier, and
Yeah,
I'll probably we'll see if I talk about it much more later. But I'm very stoked on that one.
yeah,
And then this is going to be the last one. And this one also is from Image. My goodness, so many Image comics from me this
yeah.
week.
There's a lot of Image today.
I know. And that's there was a lot and like stuff I didn't even get. I saw that there was a oh my god, what is that thing called? The creature with the spike on its head.
Was it
Um
Image?
yeah, that's like
There
the
there was
Hulk.
nine. There was nine Image comics released today.
That's a lot. Good on Image.
Super Freaks.
No. I mean, I'm sure he might be a part of the Super Freaks.
There's
We're really
there's
showing our hand here. Oh, the Savage Dragon. Woo. I
is
saved
that
my skin on that one. He's like the Hulk, but for Image. But that's also me probably just he's just being like he's a green strong man. He's the Hulk.
yeah.
It's because I don't
No,
know
that's
anything about him.
no, that's on Super Freaks. Like Savage
Okay,
Dragon. Yeah,
yeah,
that's
okay.
the
See, I
issue that
told you
came
I
out, and
thought he
he's
was a
on that.
part of the thing.
Yeah,
But yeah,
he's a part of that thing there. Yeah.
I saw that they were. I guess yeah. Was that the comic that came out this week then from Image Super Freaks?
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
was it number 1?
Oh, I I want to go see if I can find this. 56
Yeah.
pages. Yeah, it's number
Oh,
one. This cover
yeah.
looks dope.
Is it the two of them? It was Savage Dragon and a red person, I believe.
Yeah. So on the front of it, it's it says Super Freaks number one. It says celebrating 10 years of the Savage Fancast podcast with an unofficial fan tribute to everyone's favorite Finhead.
Wow. Well, it looks like we plugged another podcast on our podcast, so that's good. They did their marketing well.
They clearly. Never before have you seen such unbridled mayhem. Find out what happens when fanatics take control.
Fanatics.
Okay. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
Hats
good.
off to the marketing team over
Good
there.
job. Yeah, that's awesome. I want to check that out.
Yeah. I was debating getting it because I am interested in Savage Dragon just mostly because I've seen him a bunch and just don't know anything about him. So
Yeah.
was interested to potentially pick some of that up, but we'll see. So the last one I got is called 8 Billion Genies. And this is another one that I read. And do you know much about this? Have you heard about this at all?
So this is the one that was missing from my pull list, I think 2 weeks ago.
Okay.
At
Did you
least
end up getting it?
they do have one back on order for me. None of that one showed up today. Or it showed up for them when it released.
Right.
But yeah, I'm excited to get it and read it. But what do you got?
Well, I read about halfway through the first issue, and it's a little rushed, but and it's because it's 8 issues, which is pretty long.
That is pretty long,
especially because it seems like by the end of this issue, most of the wishing is going to be done. So, okay, so for those of you who don't know the concept is that at a random point in time,
well, it's called how many genies?
8 billion genies.
And there's how many issues?
8. So one, so maybe there will be some connection there, but also, fuck, man, I wouldn't have shot for 8 if I was trying to tell a story. You know, that's a big story.
It is a big story. It's one of those ones too where it's just like, I don't know, probably for my future self. This is a message to future Mark. Any arcs that are more than 6, just wait for the trade paperback to come out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and it's unless it's really good, because you know I would have jumped on. I would have stayed on. Where's the farthest place from here? If that was only a 10, you know. So if it's good,
yeah.
But I guess I just don't have faith in the premise, which is a shame because the premise is really good, but it also seems like it's going to devolve into how do you survive in this world. I don't even know if I said the premise. I was in the process of it, but at one point in time, 8 billion genies shows up, one for every person on the planet, and everybody gets one wish. And it's really interesting because you can see that some people are really smart with how they use their wish, and they wish for safety for some people from the whims of other people's wishes. But other people just like, I wish this person was in love with me, or like that, or I wish I was tall, or something like that, you know?
No, I like this premise.
I do
it
too.
Is fascinating too, because I mean, we are putting it, when you give that context to it, 8 billion genies. I mean, there's 7.9 billion people in the world, so they are trying to hit, like, they're rounding up, obviously, but there's a point. There's going to be a point to all of it when it's all said and done, and I'm sure it'll, you know, encourage in some way. But yeah,
sure,
that doesn't
maybe
mean
it'll discourage. Maybe it'll be like, you should get rid of people. I don't know. The Earth is square at one point, so that's exciting.
Ooh.
I don't know.
I like square. I think square is my favorite shape.
What would be my favorite shape? Maybe a circle. I don't know. Another fun conversation. What's my favorite? What is my favorite shape? I don't even know. That's such a wacky thought. But yeah, those were my pools for this week. I read some other comics that we'll get into that weren't those ones, but I didn't get all the way through the 8 billion genies, and kind of I'll probably pick it up after we finish this and just finish it off. So that's all I got. How about you, buddy? What are you pulling for us, old pull B1 Kenobi?
Well, I mean, I've already shown off a couple of them because we got the same, but hey, that's fine with me. I'll work this way. I'll just start with the well, let's go mainstream and then get off into the creeks, huh?
Let's do it.
That. Two Star Wars comics came out today.
Woo!
Both issue 23s. So one of them was the New Bounty Hunters, which, I think last time I talked about Bounty Hunters, I wasn't really enjoying it. But I've had some time off from it, and they released. I think they released two Bounty Hunters in a row last time. I think that I'll have to look back.
I
but
think,
I remember,
you're, or like a week apart or something like that. I think it was.
And
I think it was.
So it's been a while, and I think there's only one more issue in this series after this until they take a break and reevaluate what they're going to do with Bounty Hunters going forward.
Do you think they'll drop it, or do you think they'll continue it?
No, I think they'll continue it. But I think that we're probably going to see more like spin-off from Bounty Hunters before we get back to actual Bounty Hunters.
Yeah.
Then the other one's Darth Vader. This cover has the Bad Batch on it, which they just announced. They released the Bad Batch season 2 trailer. So I haven't actually watched that yet, but looking forward to getting into Vader. I've always enjoyed the Vader comics. It's not like my favorite like of the overall run since they started doing Vader back in 2015. But it's still is fantastic, and it's always fun.
Do you think the 2017 run was better than the 2015 run?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
The Dark Lord
that
of the
seems to be
Sith
the common
series,
consensus.
it's so dang good though, because it's that era of Vader that we don't know much about. It's like he became Vader, then what did he have to do? So it's this whole journey of how he got his lightsaber and how it turned red, him having to face down and chase down various Jedi so he could get certain information, and then cut off from the source. And that was just a wild run. 2015 was amazing too, and I don't think that 2017 could have been done without 2015, because the 2015 is right after A New Hope, I believe.
Yeah. And the 20, because I'm pretty sure we maybe it's just in our personal lives, but I know that I wanted to go back and read a lot of the Star Wars comics chronologically. And that was one of the things that I noticed, that the 2017 run was technically chronically before the 2015. I'm like, well, do I need to read the 2015 first to fully appreciate the 2017? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
No, that's a good way to do it. And I do, when I tell people, like if they're wondering where to start with Star Wars comics, like if you really want to get into how fun the storytelling can be, do the 2017 Darth Vader series. It's just, It was so well done. So anyways, on to other things. So yeah, we got NewThink, which I already showed that. I actually might talk about this a little bit without spoiling it, because it's the one comic that I have read today.
Nice. I actually don't really know much about the premise, so even if you, I would love to just hear about it.
I'll fill you in there, pal. Again, here's my little monsters cover. I believe I have just the main cover for anybody listening. Monk had a different cover, obviously. If you want to know what they are, we'll figure it out. Just say something in the comics. We can tell you specifically which ones if you're a listener.
Did you said say something in the comics? Say something in the comments. You can also put notes in our comics. Just go to our comic book shops. Tell them to put this in Mark and Monk's.
You could. Yeah, you can find my comic book shop and be like, hey, take the sticky note, put it on their comic for me.
I pictured a sticky note too.
Yeah. It was my what's the furthest place from here? I'm pretty excited to get into this. What is my farthest place from here? I'm pretty excited about this one too, and I'll probably read it tonight for my little nighttime read.
Nice.
That series has just been fun. I'm excited to see like where it's going, because this is the end of the arc, right? Did we already talk about that? Yeah. So and then the last one I wish
there was a way that we could read that together. Sorry to cut you off there, but it would be, I wish like we could like live stream something, but then it's just gonna be me and you sitting here just reading in silence at each other. I don't know. That's not anything.
But I mean, are you like, do you react to your silent reading? Like, do you like, oh, that was good. You like laugh
It's like
out loud stuff.
it's like a trailer react, except you would have to read along with us, and we'd all have to be like on the same page and be like, all right, now when you hear the ba-ding, turn the page. Ba-ding.
Well, and then also for people like listening, we'd probably have to have the digital one as well, and
Yeah.
like show it on
Well, not we.
the
You're gonna
screen.
get your own. I'm not buying our listeners all these comics. However you want to
Oh,
listen to
that's
it, you find it.
yeah,
Or you can
yeah.
just listen
That's
to us describe a comic, and then it might be like copyright, and then people, publishers will come after us. Mostly Marvel and DC, I would assume.
yeah, yeah.
The people with the most money.
People with the most money always go after little people. The
Oh, let's go
last one
find a fish.
is the next Righteous Thirst for Vengeance. Once again, I'm very thrilled. I'm a little psyched out of my mind, as some people would say about a Righteous Thirst for Vengeance. The
Now, is that
guy
a
on
new
this,
arc, or is it is it still going?
it's part 2, so it is a new arc.
Okay.
So this is the second arc, but it's just picking up in the aftermath of what happened. The guy on the cover here, turns out he's not dead.
What?
Yeah, and
That's wild. I've never heard
yeah,
of anyone coming back
I
to
know
life in a
nobody's.
comic book.
This is like a new, fresh take on like a character
In
who
the
was
comic
killed
book
off.
genre.
Yeah, it's gonna do
Wow.
it different. They're gonna do it different this time, but
I believe it.
But yeah, no, it's been fun. There's I don't know. There's something about a righteous thirst for vengeance. Even just the title, just like, it's like that scene in The Lion King when they say Mufasa,
Well,
and
I was just gonna say
the
Mufasa.
hyenas. When the hyenas are
Yeah.
like laughing about the name Mufasa, and he's like, "Oh, do it again." He says Mufasa. It's like, yeah, like that. I get pretty excited.
A righteous first for then vengeance. Meh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me get back to NewThink though. I should have just went with this one last.
Sure.
I'm gonna first tell you what I really like about my cover, and it is just kind of this age-old like cinematic like prophecy from is it 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea? I'm thinking of with the black box.
No, I don't know about this. What's this?
Yeah, oh my gosh, I might be wrong about. No. 2000 A Space Odyssey. That's what it is. I don't know why
Okay.
I thought 20,000, like whatever. Yes, A Space Odyssey, which is done by, I believe, Kubrick.
Mhm.
That's where it's like that movie scene where there's the apes, or like the man-like apes dancing around the big black box.
I've never seen it.
You've never? Oh, dude.
Yeah, everyone tells me I need to see it. So apparently
Yeah.
it'll
Well,
rock my mind.
for you listeners and watchers, you know exactly what I'm talking about if you've seen it. And on the front of my cover, you have the iPhone. In this case, they kind of make fun of all the big companies in this issue.
Yeah.
But I just love it. And so the whole thing behind NewThink, this is kind of, you're going to love this, Tim, and I think you're going to be excited that you're a part of it. This is kind of like it's an anthology series. So in the same way that like Silver Coin is an anthology series, with there's still the main guy behind it, but then different artists who help like write and tell the story. So each issue has this same writer, which is Hurwitz, but the art team changes each issue.
Oh, really?
So,
Oh, that's kind of a bummer. Oh, I like Dado, but that's okay.
I know you like Dado, but
so so is it just kind of like dystopian future stuff, like just kind of like Black Mirror comic?
This is
thing?
that's a really good way to put it, because this is actually how the publisher's summary puts it. It says this Black Mirror style anthology examines the rapid proliferation of technology, the cultural and political polarization of the country, and the technocrats that have driven us to such extremes of thought that we need to present the present as something futuristic. each of the 5 issues is a standalone tale with its own art team.
Nice.
There's not even a period at the end there.
Oh, geez,
It's
marketing.
maddening. Yeah.
Do you think that it'll? I wonder if there will be an overarching thing, like an overarching like point or like whatever. I'm sure it'll be poignant each episode, like each issue rather. But yeah.
Well, that's another thing too. Like the cover. Okay, you're also a big fan of when a cover, like in a way, captures the whole story that is behind the cover, right?
Right.
This one does, but you have a different cover than I do. But this one does a very good job. The thing you can't really see unless you look at the detail of it, it is like this iPhone looking thing, but it is hanging from the tree. There's a image of a golden apple on there. There's like an Adam and Eve like type character there, and so there's something being told about like the evolution of mankind in this cover that is very prevalent as you read through the story that's inside of it.
Okay.
And I
well,
really,
then, yeah, should have picked up that cover.
and it very much is like a Black Mirror type thing. And I really enjoyed it. I'm going to read it again probably tonight because I just want to make sure I really did enjoy it. And it wasn't just like, all the excitement about reading an issue number 1.
Yeah. Well, I think that's something that I learned from you is I never go back and reread comics. I think I need to, even if it's just skimming through it and just kind of like because sometimes I do that with movies. Like I'll watch them and then I have such a bad habit of like finishing a movie, and if I really like it, I'll just watch it again. Because by the time you finish it, you're like, oh, I really love that scene at the beginning, and then you're just like, well, fuck it, let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah,
I did that with The Perks of Being a Wallflower. I think I watched that just or 50-50. I know I did it with both of them, but one of them I literally did back to back. One of them I did in the morning and then again in the evening. But that we'll save that for another podcast. But yeah, I sometimes get really hesitant when a description of a piece of media references another piece of media and says it's like that. You know what I mean?
It is. It does. It's like they could have done without saying this is a Black Mirror style. Like they could have just took it as their own. But I think,
also like Twilight Zone is Black Mirror. So there has to be a genre for it, and not just like a reference.
Well, there has to be an audience too, and like that. Obviously this is AWA, so it's I mean, they're not small, but they are a smaller indie comic book producer. Their issues seem to be directed at a specific group of people a lot of times. And that's not a bad thing. That's just like marketing and also trying to, when you're an artist and what your niche is, you're gonna go to those areas and feed Black Mirror people Black Mirror-esque stuff, and you're going to use that as a description to draw them into it. I didn't read that it was Black Mirror-esque before I got it. I just saw this is a number 1. I really try to watch out for number 1s that look interesting to me just by the cover, especially when it comes to indie producers, because I don't need that with Marvel and DC. I don't need to, I can just pick a character and be like, okay, cool. I'll start that one, see how it goes. But with indies, I want to make sure I'm casting a wide net and not just fishing in the same hole.
Right.
So,
yeah, man, I'm looking forward to reading it. I don't want to say I'll read it tonight because realistically, I'm gonna just probably shut this off and download the audio and go to bed. But but
I'm going bowling.
I'm going bowling, and in the morning we're going bowling.
Yep. Bowl all day.
Well, I guess would you mind if I jumped into a comic that actually I want to talk about this one because kind of going off of the Garden of Eden the Garden of Eden theme, right?
Yeah.
I unfortunately didn't get a chance to read like super many comics this week because I just had a busy weekend with shows
Like
and
good,
whatnot.
hey, good like comic book nerd lingo there. Super many.
Good old Superman Manny. Wow, that's funny. That's one Y, and you got a whole other thing. Wow, there you
Yeah.
go. Who knew we were going to be learning and laughing and falling in love here on Pullbacks Pullbacks Pals. But yeah, so I think I talked about this last week. I've been wanting to read digital comics a little bit more. Sorry about that, everybody. Sounds like a street sweeper's going by or something. But yeah, so I was just kind of going through comicsologies, and I really didn't know what I wanted to read. I was kind of looking for something a little bit like cyberpunk dystopian,
Yeah.
because I enjoy that genre. But this isn't really that. It looked like it was, but it wasn't. But I'm happy that I got sucked into it. Let me just even show you what it is. This is called Eden. It is a Comixology original. That's the cover for, I would assume, the first issue. Let's see if I can see who this is by. Yeah, so it's written by Matthew Arnold and art by Riccardo Burchelli. And like I said, it's a Comixology original. It might have actual prints of it. I don't know if it does or not. But
Well, I mean, but that's also an example too of this. We have demons that up here that I in my back corner. Like that's
right.
released by Dark Horse and simultaneously with Comixology. So
Yeah, so that's
there's
an
a chance.
interesting relationship, and I wonder why they can like call it a Comixology original as opposed to just something that is coming out simultaneously on Comixology. I wonder what the deal there is, the brand deal.
Yeah.
But the premise of the comic is that there is a governor, I believe, a governor or senator, something like that. Those things almost feel like identical to little old me. But there is a female political figure who's running for re-election. And in this reality, when somebody is incarcerated, they cryogenically freeze them. And so there's a debate about the morality behind it. And part of the criticism that she has against this is that there's the point of prisons is reformation. So if you're cryologically frozen, you can't be reformed, right? Because how
Right.
would you be able to learn or progress or anything like that? So she fights it, she's against that and wants to do a better way and yada yada. So a few days go by and her son disappears, and then a couple days later he's found dead in a river. And then some time goes past and a smear campaign essentially starts against the governor and her husband, saying that they most likely killed the kid. So then the judge sentenced them as guilty. So then they go off to be cryogenically frozen. And
Sorry, did you read the whole thing?
Yeah,
that's huge. It's a big one.
Well, I read 4. How many?
Oh, okay.
How many issues are you seeing?
I must be looking at the grouping of it,
How many
because I'm
how many
looking
seeing?
on Comixology right now, and I'm looking at one that's 131 pages.
I mean, it might be close to that. Let me see what it was. But I mean, it's digital, man. So
Wait,
it
no,
flies.
this. Wait. Not page locations.
Oh,
Yeah,
because this is
how they do that.
Yeah, so this is 131. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I did read it all, and so they get so the married couple, they get cryogenically frozen, and then they awaken one day to like the plant that they're in just being abandoned, and it's shut. Nobody's there. They can't find any other people, and the area that they were inhabiting is completely different from when they had left. The vegetation's overgrown, everything. There clearly hasn't been people there for a long time. And so the
Yeah.
story is essentially just them trying to figure out what the hell happened.
Yeah.
And it has
I'm scrolling
and
through these
something that,
pages right now,
and yeah, the
they're
art's
beautiful.
fantastic. It was a
It
very, very
reminds me
enjoyable read.
the art reminds me of like that 1990s, like, X-Men 92, or even like the Spider-Man, just that style. Like that's kind of what this artwork's looking like to me, and I love it.
Yeah, it was very enjoyable. And I don't want to spoil anything because I think the ending is very good and it's a bit of a twist. But something that you and I talk about on this podcast a decent amount is that endings are hard. It's hard to land the
They're
plane,
so
as we
hard.
say. And
Yeah.
this one, it didn't land the plane in a satisfactory way, I would say, but it ended the plane in a very unique and original way, which I applauded and was happy that they went that route instead of something else.
Oh, that's good.
And it's a little bit more sci-fi than you would think. Mostly I mean, yeah. If yeah, I would
Well,
have even
I'm
enjoyed
looking
this.
at it, and I like to have digital comics queued up to read.
Dude, I mean, just add it to your, whatever the hell it is set up now, your library. Because it couldn't have taken me more than 15 minutes to read it. I was just doop doop doo, and
Yeah.
even it was how it was set up on Comixology, the version that I downloaded because I got the bundle of all of it together.
Yeah.
It's just had chapter marks where it said chapter 2, and that was the second issue or whatever. And I don't mind at all reading comics like that because again that just seems to me like one big story. So
Yeah.
like let's just tell the story like that instead of trying to break it up. And there was like no filler. There could have been, if there was 5, I think it would have been better to like just have like a little bit of breaking down and seeing what the world that they were building was like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would love for
That's
you to
good.
read it because I would love to hear what your thoughts are on the ending.
Yeah. No, I'll give it a look see.
Nice.
But yeah, the last digital comic series that I read through was book 1 of Gideon Falls.
Nice.
And then I
Yeah, it's
looked up something. I don't remember how I came upon this, but Mouse Guard. Have you ever heard of
Mouse Guard.
Mouse Guard?
It sounds
Um,
familiar. I can. Well,
it's
I might.
Yeah, you can look it up later if you want. But yeah, volume 1, it's just called Fall of 1152. So this takes place back in 1152, and like I guess these mice live in kind of their own like utopian world, or maybe dystopian world. I can't. It's like I haven't gotten into it too much, but it has really good reviews, so I'm gonna check that out.
Mouse
But I'm gonna
Guard,
go,
right?
yeah. But I think I'm gonna
Nice.
go with your thing first. But
It's a
yeah, I'm trying to
bi-monthly
think,
comic.
because I think I read all of my comics before we aired last week, and so I haven't like been reading anything since,
Yeah,
except
I've been kind of in a
I did
similar
pick
boat.
up a novel. I'll show. So you're gonna be like, that's classic Mark.
Is it
I'm a
Star Wars?
It is. Yeah. Yeah. It's Brotherhood. It's the new how they like to release things and simultaneously. So like the Obi-Wan comic came out kind of a little bit before the show started. This book
Mhm.
released a little bit before the show started as well, but I think in the same week. And this is kind of I believe it picks up like right after the Clone Wars.
Okay.
Um, so
And
like
who is?
Anakin.
Okay.
The writer is Mike Chen.
No, I was gonna ask who's it
Oh,
following? Like who's the protagonist?
it's yeah. It follows Obi-Wan and Anakin, and so basically the story picks up. And I have the audio for it too, because sometimes I like to just if I can't sit and read, I'd rather be like reading it still. But I got to do something in
Mhm.
my hand, so I also listen.
That's
Um,
going to be the next brand deal for Amazon is getting somehow that if you buy a book, you get the Kindle version of it or something.
yeah,
That
they kind of have that, but they make you pay for both. Like you get a discount on one. So like
wow.
if you bought the Kindle of this book, they would offer the Audible for like a discounted price. But like Yeah, I think if you buy one, I mean, how much more money does Amazon need? They can give
I
us
know.
both things.
Yeah.
Um,
Well. Anyways.
but there's probably more threads behind that. But anyways, yeah. So the book, it picks up right when Anakin has just been knighted as a Jedi Knight. He's no longer the Obi-Wan Padawan.
They cut off his rat tail.
He cut off his rat tail, his Padawan rat tail,
Pad
and
Ratawan.
Obi-Wan has just been lifted up to the council, so he's now a Jedi Master on the council. Um, and it's kind of, in a way, it's them going from being master and apprentice to what we see at the end of Revenge of the Sith, where Obi-Wan's, like, you are my brother, Anakin, like how they got to that relationship, the relationship we saw over the Clone Wars. So this is like a prequel to the Clone Wars, but a sequel to Attack of the Clones.
Nice. Yeah,
So
because I mean, they don't really build a very good relationship between Anakin and Obi-Wan in the prequels. They're almost exclusively apart through most of those movies.
yeah,
Um,
there's
but
there's always conflict between them in both movies, as Master and Padawan, and then as uh, you know, really close
Supreme
friends who have,
Master.
yeah.
Yeah.
So but
Um, nice. Have you started
but
on
yeah,
that at all?
yeah, no, I'm on I'm on chapter 22. And
Okay.
I'm really enjoying it. So the chapters fluctuate between, like, is this from Obi-Wan's point of view, from Anakin's point of view, not necessarily like in the same room, but going with Anakin to this planet, and Obi-Wan goes to the bathroom just to check up on his beautiful hair. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Ewan
so and
McGregor
then
looks
there's
great.
yeah, and there's another character that has dedicated chapter time from their point of view as well. Who I'm still, like, it's kind of a new character for me, so I'm still not even sure how to say the name, but it's like
Sure.
Rule, yeah. But yeah, I'm
It's
enjoying
probably
it.
like a normal name. It's just spelled differently.
Yeah, but no, I do enjoy the Star Wars novels, but I like to personally just be up on what's canon with Star Wars. Um, so
How long do you think they're going to be dealing with Obi-Wan? I hope. I hope that they stop after the TV
I do
show,
too. I
like
hope
and the
I hope
comic.
well, yeah, the comics limited, and then yeah, I think they need to give him back to Mystery.
Yeah.
That's my personal quick take on everything Obi-Wan going on right now. It's not bad. It's just it's a lot at once, and it's just it's like they're already playing with fire.
I know. Well, even there's a part of me that's just like, well, we don't have to get into all the Kenobi stuff, but
Yeah,
I do kind of feel similar now to X Star Wars that I do X-Men, because it's the
yeah,
same thing that when I look at my shelves, I'm just like, man, there's a whole lot of X-Men there, or
yeah,
Star Wars there, and it's just like, I mean, I guess that's it's the thing about comics is like you want to be able to build these worlds and have these like great stories, but then this is ultimately
yeah.
what happens is like you have way too many to just because you're just like here, like, and these characters are good, and like yeah, it's just I was at my comic shop, and this is no shame at this individual whatsoever. It's but they they love the X-Men, and they got like everything the X-Men had, and he like hadn't been there for a couple months, so there was like just this outrageous stack of comics.
Yeah,
And I'm just like, man, that's like it's it's the best thing in the world if you love those things, and that like whatever, like the X-Men, if you love the X-Men, then oh my god, and I
yeah.
do love the X-Men, but like I'm not diehard enough to spend
Well, let's
minimum
put
like
it this
20
way.
bucks a week, you know?
Um, I recently, I think on Instagram, mentioned the podcast I've been listening to, Flightless Bird, which is David Farrier, and it's on the Armchair umbrella of podcasts. I saw David Farrier. I went and saw Dax's podcast live up in Portland when he was here a few months ago. David Farrier was
Nice.
the guest for it, and So I kind of got to know him there, but he's been doing this thing called Flightless Bird where he's exploring kind of ideals of America. And the first one
Okay.
was on religion. The second one he did was on toilets, because apparently our toilets are much different than the rest of the world has, which you and I, as world travelers, can attest to. Yes, the toilets here in America are different than the rest of the world has. Um, and then the last one he did was on Disney,
Hmm.
and mostly Disney adults was his focus. And it's like I do love Disney. I love that Disney was able to acquire other things that I love, like Marvel and Star Wars. Um, I just like what they tried to represent, but in no way do I hold a candle to the flame of so many like Disney adults who, they go to Disneyland like every few days out of the year,
Mm-hmm.
and like they do this much, and like they put this much money, and like he kind of talks about it, like they kind of get to it. It's like this is kind of turning into the same podcast as the religion podcast
Yeah,
that they had done 2 episodes ago.
that's funny.
And a professor of mine too, when I was in college, her and I had that like religious conversation about like Disneyland,
Mm,
or just Disney in general. Very,
yeah.
very fun, very, very fun conversation. But like, by no means do I think I'm ever going to be the type of person who's just like, I'm holding on to those things for dear life as if they are like what complete me. But I
Mm-hmm.
do hold them as things like, these are things that bring me joy, and I love them. And yeah, I'm going to collect a thing here or there. But like, no, I'm not in like the full know of, what's coming down the pipeline of the next big thing that you want to buy.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and so it was very, very fascinating. And
Nice.
I think that's kind of how I'm also starting to approach more of the comic books as well. Is I don't I don't want to be doing this like in a religious sense. I want to be doing this in the I'm doing this purely for the enjoyment,
Right. Yeah.
and that's
Well,
that's
I
a
mean,
hard balance.
yeah, I mean, that's I can see the overlap there because it's just so nice to be wrapped up in stories. Stories
Yeah,
that, like we, said earlier, hopefully leave you that are poignant and leave you with a sense of right, like a sense of how do you say that dutifulness to do right. Um,
yeah.
so I don't know, but
But like if you could just even going back to like Star Wars just in general, it's just like, and just kind of how my feelings and thoughts on Obi-Wan right now, it's just like how much is going to satisfy me and how much is not going to be enough.
mm,
Because like there's always going to be like that draw with something like an entity like that big in our society. Like I love Star Wars. I've grown up with Star Wars, but like at the same time it's just, is it oversaturating?
mm.
Is it superfluous? And I don't want it to be, but yeah, like they are
I
just
mean,
trying.
it's
They're trying to keep too many things together, and it's starting to show.
well, and like even today when I was at the comic book shop, I was thinking about I was reading one comic. I can't remember what, it had to be a Marvel comic, and at the back it showed like one of those Hulk and Thor comics that are coming out.
Yeah,
And oh, I was at my comic shop today and I was looking around for it because I couldn't find the exact issue that I had seen.
yeah,
And so I asked about it, and they're like, "Oh, well, they explain what you explain, that like the story actually goes across these four whatever." And I'm like,
yeah,
man, I hate that Marvel does that. They're just like, if you want to read this, you have to buy these like four things. And I'm like, I guess I can understand the appeal of it, and I can see why that's cool.
yeah.
And for the people who enjoy it, I'm not trying to take that away from you, but I don't know.
Well,
I
but
would
you
like
and
it.
you
I'd
do
never seen.
enjoy some of it too.
I do for sure.
Yeah,
Because I want. I guess I've been like, I've said this so many times. I've just been hurt by, or not really hurt as far as like you can go and reading
my
comic books.
feelings.
I have feelings. Is that like it's just like I'm 6 issues into an 8 issue arc, and the last four have had nothing to do with anything.
Yeah,
So just that kind of stuff. And
yeah,
so I'm like, I just tired of giving Marvel or Disney my money because they have hold on the rights to a character I really enjoy.
Yeah.
And that actually, well, yeah. So yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at with that.
Yeah. It's not a bad place to be because it shows that you're learning and growing.
Aren't we all, buddy? Well, hey,
um,
I don't know.
I wanted to.
Would you,
You mentioned a comic, and we have a fan, probably our number one fan, who he's reading it. I know because he
Yeah.
commented on it because I'm also reading it, but it's the Thor Hulk mashup thing going on right now.
Right. Yeah.
So and Andy's also reading that, and he had like commented on it, and I think
Good
what's
friend Andy
fun,
Header. Shout out, buddy.
yeah. I think what's fun about something like this, though, and last week I talked like it's a tale that's been told so many times throughout Marvel's history, but
Mhm.
it's kind of like how Dragon Ball Z was super cool. I think it still is super cool. Like, don't get me wrong, but I mean, like in my childhood, like Dragon Ball Z was a part of like everybody's like normal day. It's like got to get home and watch Toonami so I can watch Dragon Ball Z, and it's just
Right.
like events that happen in Dragon Ball Z like over long episodes. Like that's kind of what's going on with like the issues of these Hulk Thor series that's going on right
Mm.
now, and I think the cover for the new one or the last one, it's Thor Hulk. Like, I'll just tell you what happened. I'm sorry that I spoil this for people, but essentially, like, Bruce Banner is controlling
Spoiler
Hulk
alert. Leave
from
now if you don't
inside
want to
his
hear
mind.
it.
Yeah. So Bruce Banner's kind of like jet planing the Hulk, but then they have a disconnect, and Hulk rages so hard that he actually like uh, releases all of his gamma radiation, but
That's not good.
Thor is right there. And so Thor
Mm.
gets hit by all of it. So now we have Thor Hulk.
Oh, Jesus. That's
So this,
fantastic.
I'm so excited to see where it goes.
You
And
look
I
so, you
want to
do.
know. I
You look
do.
so giddy.
And I'm showing just how much I also fall prey to what we just talked about of just like sometimes like you just can't help but get suckered into like
I
that
know.
stuff just because it is fun. And
Yeah.
but no, I am excited. I'm excited to hear what Andy has to say about it as well. So
Yeah, Andy, we would love to hear it. Maybe we'll even have you on the podcast to talk
maybe,
about it.
yeah, there's two more issues for that thing coming out. Maybe he comes on after him and I, and even if you want to, you could hop on and read those five issues.
Oh, I thought you meant like I could come on for the podcast that day. I'm like, wow, that's very generous of you to allow
Yeah,
me to come on my
you come
podcast. Wow.
don't get jealous.
I won't. He would be a better fit anyways, that Andy.
No,
He,
no. Don't get down on yourself.
oh no. Do you have any other comics that you want to talk about, bud?
You know what?
If not, I
No,
feel like we had a good conversation about comics
we
and the state
did.
of comics at the end there. I was going to talk a little bit about Maestro, number 3. I read it some time ago.
Yeah.
And it is this is what I imagine, like this is written by people who worked on the Hulk a very long time ago. I forget his name, Peter David and German Peralta. They worked on the Hulk back in the 80s, and this feels in the best way like an 80s comic. Like it's light. I look forward to it. I wish it feels like it would just be like one of those comics, and I'm saying this like it sounds like an insult, but it's not. It feels like a comic that you would buy and like read and then just quickly forget about, which is what they just used to do with comics. Comics weren't a collectible thing. That didn't become a thing until Superman sold $1 quadrillion,
Yeah.
So it's very consumable is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's just I put that comic in the title of the episode, so I feel like I had to mention it to at least justify the name of the episode.
Yeah. Well, I see, because you put it in the
the name of the episode. We did it.
Huh.
I guess
we got them all.
We got them all. Well, then I will land this bird right here on this tar mat and hopefully not get hit by a plane.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for hanging out with us. We had viewers this whole time. That's great. That's something that's kind of new for us. Wherever you are viewing this at, I ask that you would give us a like and subscribe. We are on Facebook. I mean, we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and all of those are linked in our link tree, which is linked in our description. And yeah, so go ahead and check that out. Along with and all that Linktree funness is the IWEP network website. And yeah, if you are interested in any of the other content that's available on the website, there's a podcast about wrestling, there's a podcast about beer, there's a podcast about what just
not
pop
cool in high
culture.
school.
Yeah, I was gonna say what. There's a podcast about what wasn't cool in high school. I was on that one time, a long time ago, and that was it. But that would be a good crossover episode, except they have like 4 or 5 people on the podcast, so it'd be like a 7-person podcast.
Oh, that's a lot. Real conversations can't exceed 5 people.
I would believe that.
The 6th person is always the odd one out until the 7th person comes along and they start a new bubble.
That would make sense.
Yeah.
Let's do a social experiment with the podcast and see if you and I cut off and start our own podcast.
No, see, once we have 6 people, I'm just going to be the guy that's going to just sit out and be like, all right, let's hear this conversation. And then I'll interject every once in a while. And then a 7th person will join. And then you and I will just go off in our own bubble again. And it was like, well, we got to start something new because Pullbox Pals, clearly they got it handled.
Yeah, they just start doing both. Oh my gosh.
Anyway, we were supposed to be landing a plane.
And we're just chatting, hovering above, like we're just hovering. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out. Make sure that you subscribe and like and leave a comment. We want to hear what you're reading, what you're pulling. Yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this. We also have the audio version of this on Anchor. I forgot to mention that. It's on Spotify. It's on Apple. So, yeah, I hope that you're enjoying this. Mark, it is always good to see you, my buddy.
You too, my friend.
I guess we're definitely going to try to finish. I for sure want to do Little Monsters number 4. And Where's the Farthest Place from Here number 6.
Yeah, so we'll definitely be talking about those next week. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can't think of anything else at the moment that I would want to do next week, but for those 2 for sure, plus our pools. So
right on.
I will see you then, my buddy. And
see you,
everyone
buddy.
out there, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for we need an ending. And I always want to say,
you just gotta say like bye, you know.
Yeah, I know.
See you down the road.
See you down the road. See you down that pool box road. See you at the other end of the pool box.